Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. When we conceptualize a problem from an Islamic perspective, from a spiritual perspective, we have the 3 A's of spiritual health, well-being, and healing. Aqīdah, Akhlāq, ḥusni al-qulūb, ḥamal al-lisān, ḥamal al-jawārih, okay? Actions. In a previous video, we talked about the Aqīdah side, and it's a little more abstract and it's more theoretical, but hopefully with the client demonstrations, it starts to kind of piece together. The second one, Akhlāq, the characteristics. This is about, moving from, the inside out, the whole idea of from being to doing. And Akhlāq is all about being, but it's also that psychosocial domain. It's about the interpersonal domain and interacting with others. And one of the great scholars, and this is in Imam Nawawī's 40 Hadith, that he says that all of the adab, the Akhlāq, can be summarized in 4 Hadith. And these 4 Hadith, right over here, summarize our model on Akhlāq, which is our ethical and practice standards when it comes to helping others, when it comes to the sunnah-based practice framework, and ones that align very well with any practice standard for the health service, psychology profession, and allied professions. La taghḍab is one. Don't get angry. Love for others what you love for yourself. من ḥusni islām al-mar'i tarkuhu mā lā yaʿnīh, from good characteristics of the believer is leaving what doesn't concern you. And the 4th one is مَنْ كَانَ يُؤْمِنُ billāhi wal-yawm al-ākhir fal-yaqul khayran liyasmut. If you believe in Allah on the last day, speak good or stay silent. And you could see right away with don't get angry, there's an emotional resilience side to this. And you can expand this into so many different ways. Like, for example, if you're interacting with another person, do you know what triggers you? Do you know what frustrates you? A lot of people complain about dealing with people who are self-entitled, people who victimize themselves all the time and all that kind of stuff. What does that do for you? How does that make you feel? What does that bring up for you? Those are things that you might need to consider. Now, the La taghḍab hadith, a lot of people will explain this was a specific case. A specific person came to the Prophet and said, guide me. He said, don't get angry. Asked again. He said, don't get angry. Asked again. He said, don't get angry. Now, if you want to minimize the extent of this hadith, that's up to you. But what we do is we expand it to the farthest limits, inshallah, because it's something the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and it's because something that many scholars agree this is an essential piece. So it opens up the door to emotional intelligence, it opens up the door to conflict resolution, it opens up the door to so many different things, but it starts with you and being aware of your own emotions and how quickly they can, you can get into that state of emotional dysregulation. And anger is the step before aggression, verbal and physical. And you don't need me to tell you how terrible physical aggression and verbal aggression is and how socially costly it is, how it destroys relationships. The second one, we could say, speak good or stay silent. It's also about restraint. And sometimes what happens is we don't know what to say in a specific moment. And I don't know if you've ever had that experience where you're talking to somebody and you just want them to validate, you just want them to listen, but they just keep talking and giving advice and telling you what to do. And no, you should try this, you should try that. That's not, giving that type of advice is saying the right things, but counseling is responding to the right things. And so you could start to see how important the idea of, can you even be silent? Can you sit with somebody and just have a silent presence? Especially when the problem they have has no solution and it's all about coping. And that works a lot with relationships. Just do nothing, say nothing. I think we have another video on do nothing for the sake of Allah, right? The third one, tarkuhu mā lā yaʿnīh, leave what doesn't concern you, is not necessarily about ignoring things, but it's more about focus. Focus on the here and now, and the now and the hereafter when you're dealing with others. So in the here and now what is of concern. Many people who start off counseling or helping others or giving dawah in the community, and they have a lot of dealings with others, they tend to quickly jump to solutions. Sometimes you just have to stay silent and help somebody arrive at the solution themselves. The fourth one, love for others what you love for yourself, is a foundational concept for empathy. But it goes much higher than just empathy, and it goes into the world of altruism, is that you actually really want the person to benefit. This is one of the fundamental principles of helping others, is that you really want them to benefit. It's not about hearing your own voice. It's not about, repeating some phrase that you heard and it gives you a confidence boost. But do you really want to help them? Do you love for them what you love for yourself? And if that's the case, this can help a lot of people because, well, do you want to be talked like that? Do you really want somebody to just give you the solution all the time? And so some introspect, some self-reflection is important. And those 4 hadith, that's just one instance of them, but these are more foundational to the worldview of an Islamic helper or Muslim helper. And I think ones that me personally, most khutbahs I give would be around those, because it's so easy to make it relevant to the audience in front of you. Now, akhlaq is not enough. It has to be akhlaq without nifaq, without hypocrisy. And the hypocrisy symptoms comes in a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ says that there are 4 symptoms. If somebody has these 4, they are a full-blown hypocrite. So sort of like a diagnosis. These are the criteria. If they speak, they lie. If they are entrusted with something, they break that trust. If they have a contract, they break that contract. And when they quarrel, they quarrel very wickedly. Lying is self-explanatory. Breaking a trust and a contract, self-explanatory pending the context, especially in the counseling area. That's why confidentiality, anonymity is so important. It's not just a practice standard or ethical code for psychologists and social workers. It's a violation of a spiritual domain. I mean, it's tantamount to hypocrisy, informing others about somebody's secret. And it doesn't just stop there. There's another extended piece to that, which is telling the story of clients. Because people are always interested, about cases that you have, and they want you to talk about what happens in sessions and all that. And sometimes therapists, they want to share that stuff. But the idea is the attitude in the moment, in the here and now. How would you feel if you're talking to somebody and then you became the topic of next week's khutbah? And how does that make you feel that the person that's helping you is using your story to advance something else? Now, I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, but the whole idea is you do have to go back to the principle of love for others what you love for yourself. Otherwise, what ends up happening is we forget about the here and now, and we want to focus on something else. And we forget about the now and the hereafter, and we're stuck trying to advance some materialistic gain. So, when it comes to the A's of spiritual health and well-being, it's very easy to see how akhlaq is a foundational aspect of it. And a problem in any one of those areas is undoubtedly going to cause psychospiritual challenges as well as psychosocial challenges. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.